The Iowa women have officially gone back-to-back. The queens of the Big Ten tournament reside in Iowa City.
The big news over the weekend, Kayvon Merriweather decides he's going to go to the NFL draft, opt out of the Music City Bowl. Your initial reaction when you saw that?
Phenomenal team passing all game long. Taman Lipsey up to Gabe Kalsher and Demarion Watson the flush. That's elementary, baby. Fundamental basketball.
Welcome back to Union Station. Welcome back to On Iowa Live. We have the Cedar Rapids Colonels joining me. Now we're going to grill the players.
Head down to Iowa City, boys state swimming. And what a moment from Nathaniel Crow of Williamsburg. He didn't know if he would ever walk again after a diving accident last July, but after months of rehab and hard work, he got back into the pool for the Paris Swimming 50 and 200-yard freestyle, got a standing ovation.
LSU fans were there, and then they kind of cleared out. And then the Iowa fans were there. And when I saw the look through my camera on your face and through Lisa Bluter's face, I kind of thought to myself, these guys are celebrities, and they might not know it until now.
I know we just saw that Colonel story, and look, spring's great, but I'm not ready to rush it.
I mean, with this weather, I'm kind of reminded of baseball. This is not bad baseball weather.
Are you sure about that?
I am sure, actually.
I think 9 innings at 40.
Baseball are you playing?
9 innings at 40.
I know it's not a fluke because you were a great three-point shooting team last year. How are you able to hit threes at such a high rate every single year?
Despite the weather, the Iowa offense started. Yeah, you thought I'd say hot. That'd be cliche. But Sam Laporta had 4 sizzling receptions on the game. This one going for 58 yards across the field.
That's the last notch in Caitlin Clark's book for 2023.
Absolutely.
But it's not forever because we're talking about the future of Caitlin Clark in the black and gold. Coming up next on Iowa Live.
Down to the wire they go, but the Iowa Hawkeyes find a way to come out on top and see one more game in the Big Ten tournament. The story of the night, yes, Caitlin Clark, yes, Monica Sonano, but how about Gabby Marshall? She grabs a career-high 21 points with 7 3-pointers made. She is the spark. Electricity in the building. We go to the fourth quarter. This was the final field goal of the game for Iowa. Clark to Sonano. Take a close look because we may never see a connection like that in Iowa basketball history. Terps with a furious comeback, but a masterclass of a defensive possession for Iowa seals the game for the 3rd time in as many years. The Hawkeyes will play for a Big Ten title. Chelsea Brown has reaction from Minneapolis.
And welcome back to On Iowa Live on KCRG 9.2. Scott Docterman and Jan Jensen are joining me. Real quick note, the WNBA draft is going on right now. We're hoping one of Jan Jensen's former now players, Monica Sonana, will be drafted. Steph Suarez just picked number 4th overall by the Dallas Wings, the former Iowa State Cyclone.
Good for her.
Jan, we talk about you guys as rock stars, and I don't think there's any indication more that you are a rock star than after all the dust has settled in the national championship, are people burnt out from the Iowa women's basketball game? And the answer in Coralville the other day was absolutely not. You guys get off the bus after coming back to the Eastern Iowa airport, and you see a crowd of people like that. How did that feel?
That was another one of those moments because I think both Lisa and I, after we lost the game, we felt badly for ourselves and for our players. But we felt so bad for everybody because you get so close. You want everybody to have that championship feeling. So you're coming back. As time unfolds, I said we're not going to let it taint it. But when we got back, honestly, when I walked off that, I couldn't have told you had we won or lost. The genuine love, excitement, it was really special. And someone caught a photo of Lisa, our sports information department, Brian Ray, who does a fantastic job. We were turning the corner, and she was holding the trophy to give to Caitlin to walk off. But her picture, I think, her eyes, seeing the crowd, it made me kind of choke up. You could just see that genuine, I don't know what the emotion would be, gratitude, but also kind of really surprised. And they were amazing. It was a sea of people again. And we actually got out, and we walked through that, and very happy it wasn't still COVID because there were people on top of us for sure. But it was another moment, and I think it helped everybody heal a little bit when we came home. We felt the love.
Yeah, I want to ask about your relationship before we take a deep breath and talk about the future of the Hawkeyes, I want to ask you about your relationship with your seniors, McKenna Warnock and Monica Sonano. Not only great players that will go down in history for the Hawkeyes, but kind of all-time leaders. And you knew that not just talking with you and Lisa, all you had to do was talk to a freshman or a sophomore on the team, and they will tell you, these women mean so much to me. And I know they mean so much to you, too.
Yeah, I think, your leadership, your captains, your seniors, when you have special years, that has to be extremely special because you have to navigate so much. I mean, you're constantly, you have a loss and the expectations are high. It depends on how they handle it. They have to be good ambassadors of the coaches in that locker room. And then when your success continues, they got to keep it right here, right? They got to keep it level. And, Monica and McKenna, they're selfless. They're really constantly building everybody up, and they're a huge reason why we had so much success.
I'm really fascinated by growing the game, and that seems to be something that I know over the years you've talked about, Lisa certainly has talked about, and Caitlin seems to be really invested in as well.
Very much.
And to see the receptions at everywhere, we talked about it. How do you think this, what does this mean for the sport in 10 years, 20 years and down the road where Iowa is kind of leading the way now, where you may have a completely sellout crowds every game next year and televised events. I mean, is this, is it humbling or is it just, hey, we're here, we've always been here, and now everybody's finally taking notice?
It's more humbling, but I think it's more rewarding probably because I've always felt like I've just never understood that whole, disdain sometimes towards women wanting to follow their passion as men follow their passion to play. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar, but a lot of times on social media, what's happening, if something good happens to a female athlete, the rhetoric that can come back on social media is either get back in the kitchen or make me a sandwich. It's just the thing that a lot of men typically will throw out there, right? Well, before we had social media, it was similar things. Men didn't want to give it the time. Women, they shouldn't do that and so forth. Where, it never has taken away from the men. And I don't know, the men's side of things or the fans were worried that if the women's game would get popular, that no one would go to men or that money would be taken away from men. I've never understood that. What I also had challenges with was that everybody wanting to compare the game and being like, well, men dunk and women don't. Men do this and women can't. Is like, they don't have to be the same. Is like just appreciate them for what they are. And if you're a fan of the Hawks, you can cheer for the men and you can cheer for the women. You can cheer for volleyball, you can cheer for football. So long-winded is, in my whole career, I feel like I've spent speaking to Rotary clubs or anybody who will listen. I'm like, just come and give us a try. Watch the men. We love the men. We watch the men. But, if you can afford it, come watch us too. So I think now when you have a good product, and, every coach, you'd like to say you have a great product every year. Most of the years we have, but sometimes it's just tough sledding. You don't have as great a shooting or your inside game isn't as good. Or for whatever reason, your chemistry just isn't there that particular year. And every year's a different race. I don't care, like this particular year, everybody's like had these expectations. But we still added, a couple new players. And we had to start all over again. So it took us a little while to settle in. And that's where I think now we have this product and you have a kid like Caitlin with the sellout crowds and the interest. I just feel it's so rewarding because there's been so many pretty good teams, not with the Caitlin, but pretty good teams that never got the crowds because there wasn't a lot of attention. So I hope now that we can continue to put a good product on the floor to continue to help move that needle because those of us that have been in it for 25 to 30 years, we didn't get in it initially for the money. We didn't get in it for all the nice articles. We understand you got to write the bad articles. I mean, we've only lasted because we've been able to handle the bad articles with the good articles and the good crowds with the bad crowds. But I think if we can be part of growing the game, and what I'm so proud of Caitlin is she understands. Sometimes you recruit kids, and they just think you always have charter flights. They just think you always have all these people coming. They just think you always have a, Scott Docterman, writing about you. They don't understand that, Lisa started driving her van at St. Ambrose and started for $2,300. And she cleaned the floor, and she cleaned the locker rooms, and we didn't always have a Nike deal. Iowa had one, but we had Reebok. There's a lot that goes into that. So to have someone like Caitlin say, hey, I believe I'm it, I want to be it, and by the way, I want to bring everybody along with me. That is amazing. And I am beyond thankful, and I hope we can continue to rock it, I do. Thanks.
Jan, when you have Caitlin Clark, the future is bright, but I know it's more than just Caitlin Clark. Can you just, I know you don't want to think about next year because you deserve a break.
We're always thinking about next year. I wish we didn't have to, but.
Is there any thoughts that come to mind when you think about Caitlin, when you think about Gabby, and when you think Kate Martin, and then some of your proteges, Hannah Stolke and Addison O'Grady? What thoughts come to mind?
Well, I think, the inside game is going to be a question mark. What's nice is we have Hannah Stolke, a native, and she was really coming. She gives us something so different than what we have. She's got such a bounce off the floor. She's so explosive. And she's a little undersized, but she can counter that most of the time until you come against South Carolina was a little tough at times. But I think with development, a whole summer with her, at the 5 position, I think we can see some even more consistency and efficiency. I also think with Addie O'Grady, she's 6'5", she has the size, is sometimes when you're counted on, when you're the chosen, and Paul can talk to this, is some kids just need to be the one. Some kids are just fine trying to show you they're the one. I'm going to show you and I'm going to climb. But some kids, when they're like, okay, I guess it's me. Addie is not, has not been one that's really like taken that bull by the horns. She's learning. She knows Monica was pretty good. So I think too, a summer with her. But that's big shoes to fill. So we do have 2 different looks there, but we also could put Hannah at the 4. She's probably more suited for that. So we got some decisions to make, where we want to put her. We did Hannah 4 and 5 this year. So she did pretty doggone well at it, but she needs a little work on the consistency of the outside shot, and she needs to be a little bit more consistent with her offhand on the inside. So the verdict's kind of out, but I'm excited about both of them. I know a lot's been said about the portal, and I'm just here to tell everybody, men, women, portal, that is a whole different beast. Do not read everything people want to put on social media. Don't expect, we're biased fans. I think sometimes like, oh, they just want to come to Iowa. It is a whole new world with collectives. It's a whole new world with tampering. It's a whole new world with, it's difficult. So I wouldn't put a lot of stock in what you think should happen or not happen. No one knows. And we're going to do everything, I can assure you, methodically, fairly, honestly. And, if we get portal help, great. If we don't, I'm very confident what we will develop will be a really good inside presence.
Everybody give it up for Jan Jensen.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we're taking questions from the audience on Iowa Live.